Kia ora, I'm Jade, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the crab trailer, the Cahoots Revved and Braked trailer. So this is the upgrade over the existing tool trailer that Cahoots uses. We have a lot of problems going up steep hills and coming down steep hills with a trailer load of tools and materials. It's very heavy. The brakes struggle coming downhill, and going uphill is just a lot of work. So we're building the crab trailer. The crab trailer is going to be powered with e-bike motors, hub motors for getting up hills, and it's going to be braked with regenerative braking on those hub motors, and also with friction brakes for coming downhill. I'll show you the basic frame that I've got modeled in CAD, and this is really just dimensional. This is just for dimensions, so this is not sophisticated CAD at this point. The trailer is basically a box. The existing trailer is basically a box. This is the same. From above, you can see these framed areas here are for the wheels to drop into. 100 millimeters wide with dropouts for hub motors. The wheels are 20 inch wheels with hub motors from Grin Tech, one on each side. There's a third wheel on this trailer. It's a 3-wheel trailer. Third wheel sits inside this frame, and the front wheel is actually a 16-inch wheel. And this whole assembly pivots on bearings that are not in CAD because reasons. I didn't need to model the bearings for the dimensions. So the dimensions are accurate, but the bearings aren't there. This frame that protrudes from the front of the trailer carries 2 pillow block bearings, and the shaft from this wheel assembly passes through those 2 bearings and is then braced against forward-backward motion there. This whole frame is constructed from, will be constructed from, 1-inch square box section, 25 millimeter square box section, and 25 by 50, 1x2 inch box section. The trailer payload area is pretty similar in size to the existing trailer. It's a bit longer, and it's about 5 millimeters wider. But all of the weight of this trailer is carried on its wheels, hence the front wheel, the front steering wheel. The old trailer is a sort of traditional 2-wheel trailer with a lot of the weight of the load falling on the drawbar and therefore on the rear wheel of the cargo bike. That creates some issues depending on the weight distribution inside the trailer. So moving the drive wheels back here and adding a steering wheel up front with the drawbar, which isn't shown in this CAD, mounted on it, will solve that problem. So there's going to be no vertical load on the drawbar. Inside the drawbar, there'll be a load cell. This load cell can measure compression and extension, so that the microcontroller, which manages everything on the trailer, knows how much tension or compression is on the drawbar. That tells us how much the bike is pulling to pull the trailer along, and how much the trailer is pushing into the back of the bike under braking. Those forces, the microcontroller works to cancel those forces by applying power and by applying braking. The wheels will be like this. They'll be the same as this 20-inch wheel with an integral hub motor. This is a direct drive motor which enables us to do regenerative braking easily with no clutch. Grin Tech in Canada love supporting community projects, and they're giving us a discount on all the gear that we get from them, which is very generous and very much appreciated. These have rotors for friction brakes as well, for disc brakes. These motors generate a lot of torque, particularly when they are mounted in only a 20-inch rim. Both motors together should provide, we've done the numbers, should provide plenty of torque to get a fully laden trailer up the sort of 10% grades that we encounter. The design payload, the design gross weight of the trailer is 250 kilograms. The trailer hopefully will come in under 50, so it gives us a 200 kilogram payload. Coming down the hills, these motors are capable of regenerative braking. So again, microcontroller can switch that in, dependent on the signal from the load cell and the drawbar. Tuning the control loops for the acceleration and the braking will be a fun challenge, because it'll be a lot of playing around with the trailer, getting out there and playing with the PID loops with the trailer in the wild behind the bike. Once we've got those PID loops dialed in, they should be able to control the braking or the acceleration to the point that there's only a minimal force on the drawbar. So the bike is still having to pull the trailer, and therefore the rider should still be getting feedback of pulling the trailer, of towing the trailer, and of braking with the trailer on. But the trailer will be neutralizing maybe 80% of that work, maybe 80% of the force required to go up a hill, and maybe 80% of the force required to brake coming down a hill. When the regen braking isn't sufficient to provide the braking force necessary, the microcontroller can start to actuate the friction brakes. So we have rotors on both of the wheels and ordinary bike calipers. These are the Magura T4. So they have two pistons. They're essentially double the brake size of a traditional disc brake for extra braking. They'll be actuated by mechanically actuating the existing brake levers. So these brake levers will be mounted inside a control section on the bike frame. We've hijacked the levers with this mount and attached a linkage rod here to actuate them. This will be actuated alongside the other brake for the other wheel that will be mounted opposing the first one. These rods will come down and connect to a central piece, and the central piece will be actuated by a linear actuator. So this will move in and out on command of the microcontroller and apply or take off the friction brakes. The advantage of this kind of actuator is that it's resistant to movement. It'll stay in a position when unpowered because it's driven through a worm drive. And so the brakes can remain on when the trailer's not in use. That's important for parking on a hill. It's important for parking at a site. The current trailer doesn't have any braking, and so when you arrive at a site to do a job, if the site is sloping, you have to chock the trailer to stop it from rolling around. And you have to do that pretty quickly, and you have to get off the bike and get the chocks in, and it's fun. So this will be able to lock the brakes on. The brakes can be turned on and left locked when the trailer is not in use and when it's not powered. It's also a bit of an anti-theft thing. Anyone who wants to try and steal the trailer is going to have to pick it up, carry it, or cut the brakes or something more dramatic. They're not just going to be able to wheel it away. The motors will be powered by two batteries like this one, two big old 17 amp hour 48 volt batteries, higher voltage than most traditional e-bikes. Most are 36, these are 48. Gives a slightly higher top speed, but we're not really worried about the top speed. Cruising speed of the trailer, based on the calculations that we did with Grin, should be somewhere in the low 30s kilometers per hour, maybe 32. Realistically, cruising between 25 and 30 will be more than adequate. Is there anything else to say about the trailer? There is a lot more design detail in the trailer. There are a lot of things that I could talk about, and we will talk about in detail as we get to the build. There have been a lot of design decisions that have been made for all kinds of reasons. The three-wheel thing that I mentioned before, and how that operates and where the drawbar is, and all of those considerations. We can get to those as the build progresses, but I just wanted to give an overview of what the point of the trailer is and the core systems involved: the power, the regen braking, and the friction braking. The other thing that's really important to remember is it will be bright pink like the first one, and covered in Cahoots branding, of course. And really it's a great project and it's a fun project, but its aim is to be a production vehicle that works every day and carries tools to job sites. So it's a prototype, but on the success of this, we'd love to build more for other clients potentially, and as Cahoots grows, we'd love to do more bike-powered stuff and the dream would be to have a fleet of bright pink trailers. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to know. Feel free to get in touch on the socials and ask questions. And head on over to the PledgeMe campaign, which should be running now, to help fund the build of this trailer.